Mainly, I just want to highlight the hottest paddles of the summer. My reviews and videos are just going nuts. What's up, everyone? We're here for episode 2. I did episode 1 solo. It was really hard just to talk to myself in the camera. I had no script. I was repeating myself a lot, and it wasn't my best performance. And so I went and found me a co-host. I got Downtown Logan Brown here. Logan owns a newsletter and has been managing a podcast of his own called the Sunday Deacon Club. Go follow him, sign up for his newsletter. He's super consistent on top of all things pickleball news. It was why I'm bringing him in here as a co-host. So I actually did a podcast where what do you call it? I was a guest on your podcast a little bit ago. That's kind of where we met and started chatting, and it was a great experience. I love what you're doing, and I'm really excited to have you co-hosting with me. You're going to be on here regular with me, and just have someone to talk to and make these a lot more interesting. I don't know anybody else who's on top of news better than you are. So, Downtown Logan Brown. I don't know why. Did you just call yourself that? Did somebody else label you this? Like, what do you shoot threes? Like,
yeah, right. Great question. No, I'll spare everyone the long story, but I used to work for a brand that actually is getting into pickleball pretty regularly now, Chubby's Shorts. This was back in 2015, and I was a part of the customer service team for a while, and everyone on the customer service team had a nickname. And there's a player from the 80s or 70s, I'm going to botch the name, Downtown something Brown, not Logan. And yeah, he used to just like pull up, shoot threes, and just bomb it. And so when I was on the customer service team, they just decided arbitrarily, I am Downtown Logan Brown. And it kind of stuck with me.
Well, obviously you loved it. Like, you're sticking with it post Chubbies.
I'm sticking with it. I don't know. I like it. If you got a better name, bring it on.
It's great. It flows nice. I don't have a nickname. They just call me Braydon. It's boring.
The Dink Master.
Ah.
The Pickle Paddle Tester.
We'll work on this.
Yeah, we got to work on it. Thanks for having me on. This is great.
So you work for Chubbies. I have to talk about, like, was there a dress code? Like, did you have to wear Chubbies to work every day?
So no, but in the early days, like, everyone was really, really gung-ho about the company and the mission. And back then, like, the marketing was so much about, like, we hate pants and wear shorts. And so back then, that was your guys'
mission. We hate pants. Let's wear shorts.
I think it was like obliterate pants. Like, it was something. It was something absurd.
Sounds like
about, like, literally ridding
fun.
The world of pants. Yeah.
Yeah, rid the world of pants. Yeah, get them on here as a sponsor, dude. Let's wear Chubbies. I love Chubbies.
That would be fantastic. I still talk to one of the founders on Instagram. When he saw that I was doing Sunday Dinking Club, he messaged me because he's one of the only founders left that still worked for the company, because they merged with another one and went public. But he's a really great guy, and he's been the one. I don't know if you noticed, but some of the pickleball influencers on the internet were a part of their photo shoot they did recently.
Oh, no, I didn't notice that.
And do you know the Hype guys?
Yeah.
Have you seen them on TV? So now they're rocking Chubby's gear all weekend.
Dude, I don't know who's paying for the Hype guys, but I feel like they're at every tournament. Like,
I think PPA is
they're
flying them
around.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're in the wrong business. That sounds more fun.
Well, I doubt it's a super lucrative business, but I think they just got out of college. So, for the cool, like, per diem and free flight, I'm sure it's great for them.
Yeah, I'm sure they should. Well, cool, man. So looking at the agenda today, we're going to, obviously, MLP draft happened this week. We got some thoughts on that. And then we're going to jump into some paddle information. I want to talk about what the most popular paddles of the summer are and why I think they're the most popular. I have some stats and some stuff I'm going to show in there. We've got some different news we're going to jump into. And then we have some other paddle topics we're going to dive into around just what's going around with some new paddles and some potential what do you call it when one company buys another, some merger acquisition stuff going on. Yeah, those business words. So yeah, dude, starting with MLP, tell us just kind of give us the overview of why there's another draft. Season 1 ended, season 2 ended, and we'll jump into there.
Yeah, this is great. So definitely follow on Twitter. There's a lot of good stuff going on there and some, like, good conversation to have. So I ended up chatting with, like, Johnny Pickleball and Zook, who are pretty big names on Twitter when it comes to pickleball. They're covering it well. And Brooks, who is maybe like the president of MLP, has been really, really responsive there. So I was super confused about what's going on with MLP because we
You're
finished.
just tweeting everybody? Is
Yeah,
that
just
where
tweeting
you're,
everybody.
that's where
I
you're
got to
getting
figure
your
out what's going
info?
on. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting in their ear like, hey, like, what's up with this? Because no one understands and your marketing's not telling us. They did a better job in the last month of describing it. But essentially, what's going on is last December we had our first draft. What happened there is that arbitrarily teams got put into Premier or Challenger, right? But someone like James Blake owns a team. Travis Rettenmeyer owns the Florida Smash. At that
Yep.
point, it was arbitrarily decided that Florida Smash was Premier League. Okay, meaning they're like the top tier and they get the first round of picks. Presumably, they get the best players. However, because it was arbitrarily decided in December, they decided to flip the switch now that we're halfway through the season. So any team that was in Premier is now Challenger, and any team that was Challenger is now Premier. The players get wiped clean, but the owners remain the same. So the idea is how good are these owners and GMs at managing, player acquisition, player retention, and like outcomes of their team, regardless of what league they're in. So we just had the redraft. What happens is top 48 picks go to Premier. The rest of the players that are available after those picks go to Challenger. And so, yeah, that just happened on Wednesday. There was a pretty good. I mean, it was pretty fun, but it was still like super small scale. But the Dink guys like Zane and Thomas put together like a live stream,
Yeah.
and it was fun. But
Yeah, a lot of people jumped on that. I felt like there was a lot more hype and interest in the draft this go around, which I think is great.
yeah,
I know I was following along and was very interested to see how things went. But my kind of initial take or thought was this round is that like the teams they did better drafting. There's a lot more parity. I don't feel like there's a
oh yeah,
team that really stands out. Um,
they knew what they were doing this time. I mean,
yeah,
and
they
some of
kind of
them
learned
actually
from it.
hired GMs like that. Look them up on Twitter. It's Johnny Five or Johnny O Pickleball something. I'm pretty sure. So this guy gets all over Twitter and really follows the game. I'm pretty sure he was hired by DC Pickleball to the Washington DC team to help them draft.
Nice.
So I think that they're like really
Yeah, I
investing a
mean,
little
if
bit
everyone
more.
if everyone doesn't have a GM like they're going to, they need to.
Yeah,
Like it makes
yeah,
sense, especially if the sport grows and gets more legit that way. We'll see more analysis and more, kind of analysts that are helping with that kind of stuff.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think one of the things on our conversation was to talk about who's in and who's out and kind of where things flipped and flopped. And I'd love to hear more about your thoughts on it. Um, let's talk about who is new to Premiere. So we have names like Christian Alshon,
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Rohrbacher. Paris Todd is not new, just so everybody knows that she's not new to MLP, but she was in the OG MLP and then was not in it last year or not in the first round and now entered her name into the draft. So
Yep.
she's back and was picked up into Premier. Hunter Johnson, who also has a twin brother, Yates Johnson, is Premier. Pablo Tejas, Connor Garnett,
Mm-hmm.
and Tyra Black, who goes by Hurricane Tyra Black, all made it into Premier,
Hurricane.
which is pretty cool. So we have some new faces that'll be joining, and that's exciting for those teams.
Yeah,
What do you
Paris
think
Todd
about
went
anybody
top
standing out
10.
there?
Yeah, I mean Paris Todd went top 10, so that
Yeah,
really shook things up. Paulo Tellez went round 3, so he was drafted into the Challenger. He was a big mover.
wasn't
To
Fed
be honest,
pretty early?
Fed Fed was in the premiere last time.
Oh,
He
okay,
he
my bad.
wasn't new.
That's my fault.
But some people who are left out were so Lucy Kovalova, Matt Wright both didn't sign up, so that left 2 new spots in the Premier Division.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, those were the new ones. Some of the people that got kicked out, who was it? It was Tardio, I think, got moved down.
Yeah, Tardia moved out.
I
Um,
can't think of the others at the moment. But I did write down some of the bigger movers, so it's really interesting. I mean, it's been 6 months from the original draft, and we can see where people were drafted last time compared to this time.
mm,
So when you look at some of the biggest movers, Julian Arnold made a huge jump. He was picked 7th. So he
Yeah.
was a top 10 guy. Daescu was a big jump up. DAZN and Stackshoot both went a lot earlier than before. Some people who fell were Navratil, Kohler, Irvin, and DeVilliers. DeVilliers was he dropped a ton. Kohler dropped a ton. I think Kohler was the last pick, and so a lot of changes. Things went very differently this time, but like I said before, I do feel like there's a lot of parity this time. But like the Seattle Pioneers, everyone kind of felt like they were stacked last season, and they proved it. You know, they won two events and had a good shot at winning the super final. So Ben was picked up first this time. He's now paired with Jesse Irvin, Lacey Schneeman, and Eric Lang,
Yep.
which doesn't feel as strong as what he had before. But with Ben, like you pair him with a decent, partner, both mixed and men's, he's going to win the majority of his games. Like he can take up that much court and just manage the game that well. So you got to think that Ben's going to win two
Yeah.
out of the most part, and it's just a question of whether or not Irvin and Schneeman or Lang and Schneeman can pull out a game. I'm sure they will eventually, but I imagine they see a lot more dream breakers this time than they did in the previous season.
It's an
Uh,
interesting take. I mean, Lacey was pretty successful with the New York Hustlers last year
yeah, she was paired with
or
Bright. Yeah,
this
they
year.
did well. I don't know. She's like she just has moments of brilliance, but
Yeah, and she went pretty high in the draft,
she
so
went
I'm
really
curious
high.
if that pays off too. Um, yeah, the others too, like so Thomas Wilson was a pretty big name coming out of the final. Like he won the super final, right? On Julian Arnold's team. And that was a big name I was expecting to move up the draft order list. And I think we're going to talk about it in a minute, but like Sam Query doesn't even make it at all.
Oh yeah, and the
At all.
challenger.
At all. I was so surprised by that because I was honestly thinking that he was going, like, I was bullish on the idea maybe that he would make it into Premier, but I for sure thought he would be on a challenger level team
You were
just for the
you were
market,
thinking you were thinking maybe Premier. No,
for the marketing side of it.
you were the only one. You were the only one
I
thinking
was
that.
probably the only one. Yeah, you're right. But I'm gonna put my stamp on this that I think Sam Query brings a lot of buzz, and I think that it's less about performance sometimes and more
How do you
about.
feel? How do you feel about his commercials? Like, do they bring buzz? Like, they're pretty cringy.
Oh, his commercials suck, but that's
I
not
feel like
his
it
fault.
hurts more than helps. Is it?
I think. I mean, hopefully we get Hayden Patrick on here, but I I don't know why anybody's playing for Franklin when they're not making any moves in the paddle scene and improving at all. And I just, yeah, lame is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Franklin's doing. They they really bossed that last paddle. Like they got a lot of negative reviews. But
But doesn't that tell you like
JW
how good these pros are?
JW still plays with it. Georgia still
And
plays
Hayden
with
does
it.
too.
Hayden, does he play with the new one or has he still got the OG Franklin?
I don't know. You have to tell me if it matters.
I think he
But
has the OG Franklin, which is, a little poppier. He needs it. He's
okay.
small.
And then so some big snubs. I think let me start with this. Not snubbed completely, but Jill Braverman was the MVP of challenger level
Yeah.
and didn't make it up to premier, which is interesting.
Yeah, like
Um
Rachel, I don't know how do you say her last name? Rohrabacher?
Rohrabacher.
I
Yeah.
honestly don't know too much about her. Like,
No,
is she
me
better
either.
than Braverman?
I think it all has to do with that point. Like whoever the first pick of these teams are, I think that they're on the phone with them immediately, talking
And
about who they want
picking
to play with.
partners.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
about
they
like
said like Ben. They say Ben is super involved in picking players or partners. Yeah, I wonder if that's the case. Like, so there could be some bias there, like with friendships and things like that.
yeah, or and just like who they think they can play well with and who they want to jive with. Because if they're not doing well off the court either, that's just not going to be a good blend. But
Yeah, yeah, it makes a difference.
I saw some like, I mean, even Connor Pardo, who's the founder. I don't know what his role is now, but he was the founder of PPA. They sold out. They hired a new CEO, but Connor Pardo was like on Twitter pretty upset about the Callan Dawson not getting picked.
Oh, really?
And Callan, like I saw him play. He plays with
Did
Deckel a
did
lot,
he
but
play Challenger last time? I don't even remember.
I want to say yes, but now you're making me second guess myself. I want to say
Well,
yes,
I mean,
but
if they were upset, then he probably was.
I mean, I just
No,
think he's
no,
a
no one really
good enough
pays
player
attention
for
to
Challenger
Challenger.
for sure.
I like I watch a lot of pickleball. I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even follow Challenger that much.
No, and it's hard to like keep up with because they're playing it like if you watch an MLP weekend, they're playing those matches before Premiere, so it becomes a little difficult to keep up with what's going on there. And like some of your favorite, quote unquote favorite players are in Premiere, so I'm not sure any folks are keeping up. But Dekel Bar, who I'm almost positive went Premiere,
Yeah, he
is his
went Premier.
partner in the PPA, so it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It is interesting.
And then
Speaking
Susanna
of
Barr
Sam
didn't
Court,
make it.
oh yeah, yes. We're talking snubs. Yeah, Susanna. So Susanna, she lives in Idaho here with me.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
I mean, she's been performing really well. Like in APP, she's been medaling like every tournament. She won the super final. Yeah, that one was really surprising. I thought someone would have picked her up. Seems like these teams are picking kind of younger, more maybe more upside. I don't know. I don't know. I'm really confused by that one.
But like you said, it's kind of like it's also this is the second try of things. And you and I were talking offline. They're like, there is a third try, we think, of this, where this isn't the permanent team for any of them. Like they get to try this out. Maybe Susanna Barr comes out to be like a great player that some GM's like, why did I not pick her up? And
Yeah.
they get a chance in December to pick her up again, right?
So we're gonna go through this season two, and then at the end of this, we'll know which teams are going to be premier, which are challenger, and that's going to be permanent until they
Yep.
do like the relegation thing. So top two teams from premier or top the two bottom teams from premier will get relegated, and the two top challenger teams will move up at the end of each season. So
Yep.
we're thinking there's going to be another draft in December,
Yep.
and then I don't think there's going to be another draft like we've seen this week or in the past. From what I understand, that's kind of where it stops. Then you have more staple players sticking, more trading. I'm not exactly sure how that'll work in the future, but it sounds like it's going to be more stable.
I think so too. But I'm excited for how it's gonna like shake out because
Yeah,
it'll be a lot of fun.
yeah, it'll be fun when things kind of stabilize because then you can really get behind teams. Like with teams shuffling so much, it's not like, oh, I'm a Seattle Pioneers fan or something. So once teams get established, players get established, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna go buy gear for the team I cheer on or whatever. So that'll change things a lot from like a fan's perspective. It'll be a lot easier to follow, not as much transitioning. But yeah, so that's MLP stuff. PPA Denver is this weekend. You can watch the finals Sunday, and then PPA Seattle is next week. So those are kind of the two upcoming tournaments. Any other thoughts on those before we kind of go to the next topic?
No, I mean, Denver is kind of interesting because it seems like some of the players, like let's use like Tyson for example. McGuffin's out. I don't think there's a Riley, no Matt, no James Ignatowicz, but I think everyone is planning on being full steam ahead in Seattle. So there's still like Ben Johns, Annalie Waters, Leah Jansen. Leah Jansen lost today in singles. Um, but like I'm looking at the singles bracket now for like the finals. Ben's already in it, and then as we're talking now, Juan Martinez Vic, who's the guy who came out of nowhere in Texas, is
Yeah,
playing Christian Alshon in
he's
the
he's
whatever the
been
semifinals.
he's been solid since then. Like we've seen breakouts like Colin Schick, who did really good one tournament and then just kind of disappeared. But uh, this he seems like the real deal. He beat Stackshire today. He's got some game.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens there. And he got drafted into challenger level as well, so he'll be playing more
Oh, I didn't
pickleball.
see that. Yeah, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see more of him.
very
Well,
fun.
cool, man. So I want to jump into some paddle discussions. Mainly, I just want to highlight the hottest paddles of the summer. So,
Let's do
I,
it.
based on my website, so I have a ton of reviews on my website, right? And I can see the traffic hitting each of my pages, and most of my traffic is heavily comes from Google searches. So
Hmm.
when I rank my reviews, like the number of views I get, it gives me a good idea of like what's popular, what people are searching and buying. And my 6-0 reviews and videos are just going nuts. So 6-0 is easily like the paddle of the summer. People just can't seem to get enough of it. You can't even buy it anywhere. So but when I was selling paddles before, I had an early relationship with 6-0, and I placed a huge order of like 500 paddles, and I never got them. Like
Oh no.
it was 3 months later after the order, and I got like some DBD 14s, but none of the paddles that like everyone wanted, like the powers, the 16s. And so they're just like crazy hard to get. People are obsessed with it. So that's probably the most popular paddle right now, and for good reason. I know Chris at Pickleball Studio, that's his go-to. It was my go-to for a bit. I'm not really sure what my mainstay is right now, but I've been playing a lot with the Prism-Flash from Vatic Pro. I did my last two
Yeah, yeah.
tournaments with that paddle, and so, but there's some commonalities with these two brands and paddles that are very
Yeah,
similar.
show them off because I want to know like so I've never played with either of them, the Prism Flash or
Yeah,
the 6.0, but I want to know like there's the black diamond and double black diamond. I don't know the
right.
difference. And then two, why are they having so much trouble with I know they're based out of Australia, but are they manufacturing there and that's what's causing the slowdown?
No, they're manufactured out of China, but it's just sheer volume. Like he just can't keep up with the volume of orders, and that's why I
Okay.
never got my order from my store. But yeah, so this is the double black. This is their carbon fiber uh, thermoformed version, and then they have the black diamond, which is fiberglass but same shape.
Hmm.
And then on the Vatic Pro side, this is like super. This is their Flash 16, very similar to the double black, just some small variation in how they play. And then Vatic Pro just released this one, which I'm really big on. This is the one I've been playing with recently. One super cool thing about it is it's only $100, really cheap. You know, if you use my discount code, it drops it to 90. But it's essentially built the same way as the Ben Johns paddle, except it's just a little bit shorter and a lot lighter. So you kind of get all the benefits of the Ben Johns, but in a lighter paddle.
Okay.
But these two brands kind of pioneered, or at least made popular, this hybrid shape. So you have like three common shapes that on the market. You have like elongated shapes, you have hybrids, which are these, which is kind of like a new category that these two are leading the way in. I guarantee we're going to start seeing a lot more hybrid shapes from every single brand moving forward. We're already seeing Bread and Butter come out with one. I think you play with the Filth.
Yeah, yeah.
So they got a hybrid shape coming out. Everyone's going to start coming out with these hybrid shapes, and I'm going to explain why these hybrid shapes are so good here in a second.
Please do.
And then you have like your standard shape, which is like 16 inches by 8 inches. So the hybrid is just in between the standard and elongated. And people will go for the elongated shapes for the extra reach, but the downside there is they just feel heavier. They're just naturally more head heavy. And then with the standard shapes, the sweet spot moves down on the face. It's in the middle, has a generally more forgiving experience. But you lose the reach, you lose a little power, and then these hybrids are introduced. So I'm going to share my screen,
So let's do some stats, baby.
and
Come
I'm going
on.
to show you some stats behind why I think these are so good. So I've recently started keeping track of a bunch of different stats, from swing weight to twist weight, balance point. Anyways, it's all dumped into this spreadsheet. I'll put a link to the spreadsheet in the description. I'm working on a way to make this information easy to filter and more available, but in this form, it's easy to do some analysis, which is nice. And so I put together these numbers. I'll zoom in here. These are some numbers comparing the shapes, and then what the swing weights and twist weights are for these shapes. So looking at 16 millimeter paddles only, the average swing weight is 122. So you'll see a range between like 100 to 130-ish is kind of the range of swing weight numbers you'll see.
Okay.
So 120 plus is on the higher side. It's going to feel heavy. And the majority of elongated paddles have this higher swing weight. And a lot of people are very sensitive to weight. And so having that higher swing weight can cause issues for people and just make it feel heavier in general.
Meaning like tennis elbow, or you just mean like
Just
they're
tennis
slower to
elbow,
responsiveness?
it's just slower. I, Generally, what I tell people when it comes to swing weight, I'm like, what the right swing weight is for you. I say play with the heaviest swing weight that you can manage, because there's a lot of benefits to swing weight, like more carry through, more power, just more stability. Higher swing weight is good if you can manage it, but if you can't, then it can be very cumbersome. It can hurt your elbow. But a big downside of a higher swing weight is it's just you're slower at the net on with hand battles and counters and stuff.
Hmm.
But for a lot of players, getting this 120 range just can be too much. But they want the benefits of a little extra reach, which is kind of where this hybrid comes in. So there's like this huge drop in swing weight of the average from a hybrid to elongated. So the average elongated is 122. This drops 7 points, which is
Because they're
very
cutting off those
noticeable.
edges. That's the reason.
It's just a tiny bit shorter. So elongated shapes are 16.5 inches and standard. So I kind of have the numbers here, or sorry, a hybrid is
Oh, I see.
16.25. So it's just like a quarter of an inch, but just knocking off that quarter of an inch does wonders for managing the swing weight and keeping it down. So you get like the best of both worlds here, where you get a little extended reach, helps you cover more court, adds a little, there's just a lot of benefits of having that extra reach, but you don't have that like heavy feel. It's not slowed down like a traditionally elongated paddle is. And so this is big. And then when you look at the swing weight compared to the standard and hybrid, like they're not it's not as big of a difference between the standard and hybrid as there is between the hybrid and the elongated. Something about adding that extra quarter of an inch really bumps up the swing weight quite a bit. And then even more interestingly, like when we look at these balance points, so a balance point is like the distance of when, or just like the, what do you call it? Like if you were to set a paddle on a table and like scoot it off towards the edge, and right when it starts to fall off the edge of the table is like where the balance point is.
Okay.
So the further the balance point is away from your hand, the more head heavy it is, and that further away the sweet spot is from you. So this hybrid, the balance point is very similar to the standard, so it plays, which is why we're getting that lower swing weight. So like it's pretty interesting to see these stats. And then when you look at the twist weight, so twist weight is a new measurement that I've been pulling in, and I think it's going to be more and more popular moving forward. This is a measurement I have on the main sheet that you can come explore here. But the twist weight gives you an idea of like how forgiving a paddle is.
Oh,
So
okay.
like when a ball hits the side of the paddle, if it has a higher twist weight, it's not going to turn as easily in your hands. It's more stable, which can be like an indication of how forgiving the paddle is. So we also have increased twist weight numbers for hybrid shapes. So you have lower swing weight, you have more forgiveness, more stability, but you still get that little extra reach. So that's my thoughts on like why this hybrid shape is so popular and why I think every brand's going to do it. The data here is just kind of shows the benefits of that hybrid shape. I personally love it. I really like the hybrid shape. And then it's even the same thing for the 14 millimeters. So it's just the skinnier versions. Same trend where it's a big drop off in swing weight, close together here for these two. The improvement in twist weight numbers. So it's kind of fun looking at the data and seeing why people are loving these paddles, because like honestly the construction of these like thermoforms isn't going to be that different from all the other stuff that's out there, but people fell in love with this hybrid shape, and those are the numbers that people are liking. And so these are hot. I'm going to keep playing with the Prism-Flash for now until something changes my mind. It's just I'm more of a control-oriented player, and it's a control-oriented paddle, and it fits my play style. But a lot of really good paddles out there, and but those two are the hottest. And if you're interested in any of those, I do have discount codes and stuff, so I'll drop that stuff in the description. But that's those are the hot paddles right now. You can go check out my reviews to learn more.
What
Um,
about, so can I ask like what you've played with both clearly? So is the double black diamond like, do you, maybe it's just more poppy, whatever, like what are you feeling differently? Because the Vatic Prism-Flash is not thermoformed, right? That's just
right,
edge wall foam. So
right.
like, is there anything really that different these days between those two styles?
Yeah, so thermoforms have kind of like a distinct stiffer feel pretty much across the board for every thermo. They all just have, that's kind of like what just a characteristic that kind of defines them. Other than say like the Scorpius and Perseus at Yola, they kind of buck the trend. Theirs feel a little more traditional, a little softer than other
Yeah.
thermos. Um, while this Prism has more of a classic plush kind of deep feel to it that I prefer, and I like that. And so I can just control it a little better. I personally feel a little more connected to it. But I like thermos. I can play well with those. I mean, I don't really know if it would change my game that drastically going between that and the DBD16, but it's
Yeah.
just kind of a personal preference. And I just like that I just like that classic, more plush feel, and will win points in a lot of variety of ways. I've never been a huge power hitter, and I think I can beat people without cranking it. So it works for me.
What's like the one thing, because I know you and I both played Carbon for a while. What's the one thing you're gaining off of the Vatic Prism technology with the foam edge versus the original Carbon? Is it just
Yeah,
dead spots, like lack of dead spots?
yeah, and it's just increased forgiveness. I have the stats. I could probably do an analysis and look at all the paddles that have the foam edge wall and look at the twist weights compared to the Gen 1, just like cold press, no edge wall, no
Yeah,
foam
yeah.
edge wall.
No frills.
I would guess that the twist weight is higher by a decent amount for everything with the foam edge versus
Okay.
those that aren't. And you can feel it when you play. It's just a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more stable, and it's just, I mean, paddles will just keep getting just a little bit better every year. It usually isn't anything drastic. It's just little improvements, and that was a big one. I mean, we're seeing the foam. There shouldn't be a paddle moving forward that doesn't have it. I think it's here to stay.
Nice. Okay, cool. I'm excited to try it out. I never tried the foam edge,
The
unless
the
they're
filth
already baked
the
into
filth
the
the filth has
thermoform.
it. There, yeah. I don't think there's a thermoform out there that doesn't have the foam edge, other than
I
maybe
just never
six
played
zero
no thermoform
sapphire.
but foam, right? Isn't that what the Vatic Prism is? Is not thermoform but foam, right?
Correct. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
I
in
haven't tried that.
between. It's the Ben Johns Hyperion if you've ever hit that one.
No, not really.
It's that same
No.
similar feel. Anyways, really big on all those paddles. They're all fantastic. So much good stuff out right now. Like you can't really go wrong in a lot of cases. All right, so moving on from that, the I'm gonna hand this one over to you on some of the latest kind of chatter of stuff that's going on in pickleball news wise.
No, yeah, I mean, like so of course, pickleball noise is back in the news. I'm not sure if this
I'm
is just
pretty sure we
because,
talked about pickleball noise
yeah, I think
in
we did. I mean,
our
I don't want
last
to
little
hammer it home too much.
chat.
Just let people know, like, New York Times wrote about it again. I would say that the only,
What
I
was
mean,
their take on it this time?
it's just taking another person's like problem. Basically, like I think it's happening in more cities where the parks are very much more integrated with the housing communities. So like my park locally, which is very close to my house, but maybe I don't know how to explain it. Maybe not even a half mile. It's got to be a quarter mile away. If I walk out of my door, I can hear people dinking. However, there are a bunch of trees in the way. So if there weren't trees, I could probably imagine this being much louder.
Quarter
And I
mile, like
think
that's pretty far.
maybe it's closer than that. I don't know how to explain. It's like
But
I walk through the
it's
woods and I'm there. I don't know.
you're like, yeah, this could be a problem, or it
No,
is a
for
problem.
sure. I mean, I think like if you're like one of the pictures they showed was this community I think in Washington D.C. where like quite literally there's courts and then there's a street with two lanes and there's homes. And when you have 12 courts rolling, 24 people hitting pickleballs, it's pretty loud. And if you don't really know what pickleball is or don't care about the sport, you're probably not that excited about hearing that all day long and even into like 9:30 in the summer when before the sun goes down. And some of these parks leave their lights on until 10, so or 10:30. So anyway, there's not much here except for there are talks about different balls hitting the market. The MLP talked about making their own ball, but I really doubt it's about decreasing noise. It's probably more of a
Yeah,
business move.
I don't think that would change
Um,
much.
and there's
Did,
that
did
guy
the
from Enhanced
did the
Pickleball.
article did the article bring up the city pickle, like the courts, uh, like in the middle of what's that big park they got there in New York?
Oh, you mean yeah? You mean like in Central Park?
Yeah, Central Park. Like, is that causing issues?
It's not taught. No, no. I've not heard about Central Park
I would think
causing
if I'm
noise.
like biking through Central Park and you can hear that, like that would probably be annoying. But they didn't bring
I
that
think
up.
I think I think it's just so loud in New York that people are just
It doesn't.
completely immune to
They're just
anything.
so
Like,
everyone's got their headphones on anyways.
oh, dude, yeah, I think it's just I don't know. They probably don't even know what they're hearing. It's just beep, 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 whatever. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's insane. I was just there for New Year's, and it's just so loud and crazy that I can imagine living there. You'd just be completely immune to all of it.
That's a good point.
But yeah, no, it's much more about these residential neighborhoods. So anyway, just bringing up that news for the group. I don't know. Leave your comment if you have an opinion on it. If you would want to play with the ball or want them to experiment. I'm sure like hopefully we'll have people listening that matter to this discussion, like the folks who are building balls and making balls, and maybe we'll see a change. Maybe we won't. I don't know. It's just topics right now. The other piece of news I mean, this is fun stuff, but like Annalie Waters, Christian Alshon, I won't get too much gossip. News on the street is they're dating. They've been hanging out a lot lately, by the way. I saw on Instagram a post down in Florida at the new Diadem facility, which looks dope, by the way. I'll include a link to it in the newsletter. We can put it below in the description. Christian Alshon and Lee Waters, Annalie's mom, were in a picture together with a fan there. And then this week, Annalie Waters, Christian Alshon, Travis Rettenmeyer were all at the Marlins game. And there was a pickleball kind of like pop-up that happened. They put a court out outside of the stadium, and then Annalie Waters like threw out the first pitch. But I just thought, again, Christian Alshon.
Did you see a video of it? Like, does she got an arm? Can she throw it?
Oh, dude, throwing like fire. It was great. I mean,
there's been a few other players. I know McGuffin did that once. I think Newman did it once. Apparently,
what's his name? The guy from Canada. He played with Travis Rettenmeyer in the Charlotte PPA. Deacon. He threw out the first pitch in Toronto.
Man, anybody can just do this, I guess. I want to throw a pitch.
I think they're getting the snub. Here's my little fun fact to throw at you. And I'm sorry, I watched the NBA, but this guy, I don't know him that well. Maybe he was an MLB. No, yeah, NBA. And there was a funny meme online.
This is a rough start, dude. You don't even know what sport it is.
I know. It was NBA because they were making a joke about how big this guy's hand was. His whole hand wrapped over the ball. He could almost touch fingers, like holding the ball. And they let him throw from the actual rubber, like the actual rubber piece on the mound.
Oh, they normally are like at the bottom of the mound.
I'm just saying, this guy's an NBA player. He gets to throw from the rubber. Tyson, Annalie, Deacon all have to throw from like the base of it, and I'm like, why can't they get a real pitch in here?
That's if you're throwing from the base, they don't really think you're an athlete. They
might be throwing some shade our way.
Are they low key just saying we're not athletes because we play pickleball?
I didn't say it. I'm just throwing out facts. Go online and check it out. He gets to throw from the rubber. Why can't Annalie? But the mascot, they didn't even have a player, a real catcher out there to catch her ball. They brought the mascot out. She like brings the heat. The mascot can't handle it. Balls flying, but she looked good doing it. So more power to her.
They underestimated her.
They really did. I don't think there was any practice.
I think she's just an all-around athlete. Like I know she played soccer, was super competitive there before. She might still play. I don't know, but
I don't think. I think she's gonna make $1 million this year.
I think she's just got good genes. She could probably do anything.
Yeah, and I'm in South Carolina. Her mom played at USC, so University of South Carolina, tennis. So, got athletes in the family.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt.
No, not at all.
What else we got going on out there?
All right, so during the MLP draft, there was something brought up that I think is kind of interesting. So, if you're not watching or listening to Tyler Loong's podcast called King of the Court, pretty good stuff. I think Braydon is not that excited about it, but I think Jimmy's hot takes.
Oh, just about their podcast?
King of the Court. Yeah, I think you're just like not impressed.
Honestly, I'm not even a huge podcast guy in general. Like me doing a podcast is very ironic because I don't really listen to them. I don't even listen.
You won't even listen to this. You just doesn't matter.
No, dude. Like that. This is why I brought you on, Logan. Like you just take care of this stuff for me.
Sure. Instead of watching The Bachelorette with my wife, I'm watching YouTube clips and video podcasts in the pickleball world. So
I will be watching Bachelorette. I'm actually into that show. So
there you go. See,
there we go.
Is why.
That's the difference. That's the difference of us.
The yin and the yang. So Tyler Loong has got. I'm sorry, Jimmy, if you're watching this. I don't know your last name, but I know that you're very, very much entrenched in the scene. Jimmy Miller. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So Jimmy to date has been very open about spilling tea in the pickleball community. And so during this live stream of the MLP draft, Thomas from the Dink and Zane Navratil brought Jimmy kind of on to kind of kick it with them. And Jimmy was saying some stuff on the side. I don't think he realized the mic was even going, and he was just saying some things. Can I say that? Can I do that? And he threw out this rumor, maybe it's real, that ProXR was buying Paddletek. And we have the pickleball paddle aficionado here in the flesh. I don't know if you know anything about this or have any opinions on the subject, but that was thrown out there.
This is news to me, but I mean that's just kind of one dumpy brand buying another. Like ProXR's got their Zane paddle.
Are you impressed by that, by the way? Have you played with it? I'm
pretty sure it's the only paddle that sells. Yeah, it's a good paddle. I mean, it's a little more like niche. Like it's not going to be good for most players, but it's got that crazy long handle. It's got good pop, good spin, and if it's got a pretty tight sweet spot though. So majority of people can't play with it, but that one sells. All their pros use that one. But Paddletek, their stuff is very outdated. They keep saying they're coming out with a new one. They had a new paddle get approved a little bit ago, but they haven't launched a new paddle yet. Anyways, their paddles are just, they're not buying Paddletek for their paddles. They're buying Anna Lee. I would think they'd get her contract.
I was going to ask you, what do you think they're paying Anna Lee to play with this? Because
how
good would she be with another paddle?
She's the one pro where I feel like a new paddle would make like a significant difference. Like her paddle.
And you really don't want that. She's already dominating.
I would be very interested to put like a modern thermo in her hands and see what she does with it, because she's incredible, man. Yeah, she's the one player where I'm like, man, yeah, a new player or a new paddle would make a huge difference. So yeah, that's got to be their play, right? Like they're buying Anna Lee because they're not buying Paddletek.
And I don't know much about her contract, but somebody was telling me on the court the other day, I didn't realize this, but I think Ben Johns signed a lifetime deal with Yola.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if Anna Lee has the same thing where Paddletek or ProXR could be buying her lifetime thing out, and she's could just be part of the deal. I don't know.
There's probably some distribution play. Like I think Paddleteks are available in some big box stores.
Yeah, so they're automatically just getting the in there.
There's probably a distribution play, because it's not easy to get into Dick's and some of the places like that where it really makes a difference if you can get in there.
Yep.
So I'd imagine there's those benefits, but other than that, I don't know why you'd buy them.
Yeah,
but that's interesting. That's interesting.
Let's see if it comes out.
ProXR, I don't understand them. I don't know where they make money. They have so many sponsors. I rarely see their paddles in the wild.
But recently it seems like it's been more,
buying
right?
Their stuff. Do you know anyone who owns one?
No. I do not personally have any friends with it, but I just recently, since they came out with the Zane paddle, I had Eric Roddy on the podcast on the Sunday Dinking Club, and he plays it. Jack
Is he sponsored, or does he actually play with it?
No, he's sponsored.
Okay.
But again, where do they get their money to sponsor these players? I don't know. Yeah, right.
Only sponsored players play with their stuff.
I think you're right. Connor Garnett today was playing with it too, and I mean they have to have some sort of money to afford to give them all free paddles.
There's another side of their business. They sell baseball bats.
They are a bigger
with their
business,
little knob thing, and so I think they have other revenue streams, and obviously they think there's a ton of potential here, and there's funding, and so they're sticking with it, man. They spend probably more in marketing than anyone else.
Except Selkirk.
Except Selkirk. Okay, take it back. But they're one of the higher spenders.
Yes, and they are.
But they gotta have the lowest return. I do not see their paddles. I don't get it.
No, I don't personally see them on the court right now. Personally, I'm seeing the Black Diamonds just started showing up on people's doorsteps, so I'm seeing them pop up.
Yep.
The Hyperions definitely popping up with some of the better players in town.
The Perseus, you mean?
Oh yeah, what did I say? I'm sorry.
You said Hyperion. Yeah. The new Yellows are starting.
Oh yeah, the new Perseus. Yeah, so
they're starting to find a lot of hands.
Yeah, and I played with that paddle and I liked it. And then one of my other buddies in town just kind of picked up a sponsorship from Selkirk. So in general, I see a lot of Selkirks playing with that. it's not the Paris Todd version, but you know what I mean? Like it's the SLK version.
Yeah, the Halo.
Yeah, the Halo. Yeah, I see that one a good bit.
Yeah, that
And then
one's
like the randos who are like brand new to pickleball, I still see them picking up. Um, I
the
still
new.
see them picking up like some Selkirk like lower end
Oh, like
versions.
yeah, like their Costco bundle or whatever.
Yeah, I just see them
I
out
see
there
I
like
see
the.
quite a bit of the Costco bundle paddles, but in my like a lot of companies are like very regional. So like Selkirk is out of Idaho. I'm in Idaho, so like Selkirk is just
Oh,
everywhere.
okay.
Um, depending on where you live, you'll see a higher concentration of different brands. Like I know Engage is like crazy popular in Florida, and like
Yep.
they're out of Florida, so stuff like that. It just kind of depends. A little like a lot of stuff's regional.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. All right, Braden. So this has been great. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sunday. All right. So I'm normally here from the Sunday Dinking Club, the PPA championships. This is why we do the Sunday Dinking Club normally, because Sunday is for champions. So today, watch them on YouTube from Denver, which is pretty cool. And then within 4 days, next week, Thursday, we're kicking off in Seattle, staying on the West Coast. I know like everyone's going to be back full force then. So pay attention what's going on there. MLP's not back until September, and APP's not back until August. So make sure you're getting your pickleball in, get out there and play. Braden, what can they do to support Pickleball Effect?
Yeah, man, we're gonna be consistent with this. We're gonna start posting a new pod every Sunday. Me and Logan. So be looking out for that. And then of course I got reviews in the works. I'm gonna start doing more instructional videos. So just more content coming your guys' way. If you haven't watched my first episode, I kind of explained how I'm transitioning from being like a retail website to just going full content. And so we're really excited about the future. Excited to we'll be talking lots, Logan. We're
Let's
gonna
do
do it
it.
every week, and looking forward to it.
Hopefully bringing on some guests too, maybe. So if you're
Yeah,
out there
yeah.
in the pickleball sphere, hit us up. And thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next Sunday.